Hello everyone, myself Sanjay Jaiswar from Aegis School of Data Science. I welcome you all on behalf of Aegis for this webinar on career in JavaScript as a full stack developer. So before beginning with our webinar, let's try to understand what exactly is the purpose of this particular webinar and why we are going to why we have kept this webinar. Basically, in this particular webinar, we are going to discuss how a new aspirant or a person who wants to start his career in development and more precisely in full stack development can opt for JavaScript as one of an option. Lot of confusion in the market, lot of confusion while you're studying in your final years, which language you have to choose. With so many languages in use today, and you have already heard about languages in the backend like Java, PHP, .NET, and many more. Talking about JavaScript is like what exactly JavaScript is there in for you in the development, in the backend and in the front end, or in full stack development. So here we are going to discuss some popular trends in the industry and some popular technologies that are used in industry, which are totally based on JavaScript. So our discussion will be mainly focused on JavaScript and why you should choose JavaScript as an option for your full stack development. So let's begin. And for that, I have brought one small presentation for you. So let's begin with that presentation. So career in full stack JavaScript development. So what is full stack JavaScript? The question is, whenever you are studying in your undergraduation or graduation, or you might have completed your graduation, when you are in your graduations, or when you are studying in your graduation, or you have completed your graduation, what happens? I think my screen sharing is visible. Wait for a minute, I will just resume it. So meanwhile my screen is being shared, I will keep the discussion continue. I will just continue with the discussion. So when I say JavaScript, when we say what is full stack development and what is basically a full stack JavaScript. Whenever we talk about the development, there are two important aspects of development. One is front end development and one is your back end development. So when we do front end development, basically we are working with our UI. And when we are talking about the backend, we are basically discussing about our programming languages. So obviously, when we are developing some front end, we will be using some front end technologies, some languages that will be used, some frameworks that will be used to design our front end. So that they are also called as your front end developer. And when you are talking about the backend, there might be some programming language that you might use to develop your backend, that is your server side programming. So there also you might select some language. But when we talk about full stack JavaScript development, that means irrespective of whether it is backend or whether it is front end, when you're using one single programming language, that is your JavaScript for front end as well as backend, then it becomes a completely full stack JavaScript development. And in true sense, we have heard in the market when we talk about a full stack Java developer, or when we talk about a full stack PHP developer, or when we talk about a full stack .NET developer or Python developer, in real sense, you cannot say it is actually a full stack development, because in the front end, obviously you're going to use something which is not related to Java. Basically, when we talk about your front end, we talk about your HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and some frameworks that might be built on your that is your HTML framework, or some framework which we use for single page designing, that is again built on JavaScript. So in the front end, no way you are going to use Python, Java, or any .NET, any other programming language, but obviously these core technologies which we have been using for long. And in the backend, when we talk about the backend, then we use programming languages like Java, PHP, and all those languages. So in true sense, it is not a full stack. It is not a full stack language, though we call it a full stack development, because in the front end we use some, because when we say full stack development, we say we are also working on the front end and we are also working on the back end. But when I say full stack technology, there is only one technology which is there in the market, and that is JavaScript. With the help of JavaScript, you can design the front end and you can also work at the back end. So that's what we are going to discuss today. So for that, I'm going to share the screen. So now, as I already discussed, what is JavaScript and what is a full stack JavaScript. Now, to define it more properly, as you can see on your screen, a full stack JavaScript developer is a person who can work in the client side as a front-end developer and in the server side as a back-end developer using libraries and frameworks that are built on JavaScript. JavaScript, that is purely JavaScript. So there is nothing apart from JavaScript in the front end and back end. Yes, of course, we are also going to use in the front end some HTML and CSS. So majorly, we are going to use JavaScript in the front end as well as back end. So as I already told you, the front end is nothing but working with your user interface and design part. And backend is what? When we are going to interact with our backend server, that is data and other APIs, which we are going to interact with the server. So all those things are done with your backend programming language. And for that, we are also again going to use our JavaScript. Now, where does the JavaScript stands in other programming language? So this is the stats which I have bought from internet, and you can also search on internet. You will get different websites which will give you near about the same stats. So if you can see here with the help of your stats also, the most popular language in terms of usage, it is not in terms of popularity, I will say, it is in terms of usage. So most used programming language is C, then we have Java, and in the third number we have JavaScript. So it is, you might be wondering, how can JavaScript be used and how can be JavaScript so popular? Even today, people don't know, or even today, most of the aspirants in the college level also, they are not aware now that JavaScript has evolved tremendously. It is no longer only a client-side language. When we say client-side, that means a programming language that runs on client's browser. Any language that runs a JavaScript is a language basically which runs on the browser. So it uses browser engine. But after 2009, I will say, JavaScript has become a server-side language also. And the reason behind is that because there was a client-side programming language, that is JavaScript was developed as a client-side language with the help of a Node.js. So we are going to discuss that also in a while. So these are all the programming languages as per their usage statistics. So nowhere JavaScript is behind. It is still among the top 5 languages. Now, how JavaScript became a server-side programming language from client-side language. So let's check some history of that. So basically, JavaScript was invented by Brendan Eich in 1995. So we started using JavaScript near around 1995, and then till 2009 or 2010, I will say early 2010, it was still used as a client-side language. Now, what is a client-side language? Means that JavaScript could run only on user's browser, and you know, browser is always at the client side. It is user agent. So browser is a client side, so it always runs on the browser engine. So JavaScript can till 2009 or 10, it was not able to interact with the client side or server side because it doesn't have that capability. Now in 2009, a programmer, Randall, he wrote Node.js. Now, what is a Node.js? Node.js is first server-side JavaScript language, you'll say. So Node.js is an open source cross-platform backend JavaScript runtime environment that runs on a JavaScript engine, that is V8 engine, and it executes JavaScript code outside the web browser. So the Node.js is an environment that runs the JavaScript outside your browser now. So now for the first time, you can run your JavaScript outside your browser. So anything which can run on backend, when we say outside the browser, that means it can run on another machine. So on that is outside the browser, it can run on the backend. So it used V8 engine, and then it could run the JavaScript on the backend. So therefore, Node.js creates an environment wherein a JavaScript can run even out of the browser, and therefore it became a client-side language. So now JavaScript is a client-side language. It is also a server-side language. So now we can use JavaScript as a full stack, as a language that can be used for front-end development as well as in the backend. And therefore, Node.js has completely changed how we look at our JavaScript. Now, when to use Node.js? And now this question is very common, because why we use a programming language? It is just like asking why we use a Java, or why we use a PHP, or why we use a .NET. So the answer is very straightforward. Node.js provides an environment wherein it can run a JavaScript at the backend on V8 engine. So it is a server-side language. So when it is a server-side language, like any other programming language, it has now a lot of applications. So we can create real-time web applications. Real-time web application means any application that can share the data in real time. Those kind of applications are called as your real-time web applications. Then streaming applications. Streaming applications means we can create an application wherein we can continuously stream data, like audios and video stream of data. So that can be achieved with the help of your Node.js. Then messaging applications. Then we have chat applications. Then we have social media application, virtual emulators. Then we can create games. Since JavaScript is an asynchronous language, we can also use multiplayer games and many collaborative tools like Gmail and all those kind of collaborative tools. And also we can create APIs. Now, what is API? API is something which we use to communicate with our third-party service or third-party servers or third servers, we can say. So these are the main application area of your Node.js, and that is why Node.js has become so popular in a very small period of time. Now, JavaScript in front end. When we say JavaScript in the front end, we have already discussed the Node.js, which we are using in the back end. Now, JavaScript is used in the front end. So you are already aware of native JavaScript, that is vanilla JavaScript, then TypeScript, modern ECMAScript. Now, what is ECMAScript? It is a modern JavaScript. ECMA stands for European Companies Manufacturing Association. So modern ECMAScript, then we have Ajax and jQuery are some of the most used JavaScripts in your front end. So we use this. We have been using these JavaScripts in the form of native JavaScript or vanilla JavaScript, Ajax and jQuery. jQuery is a library. So all these form of your JavaScript has been used in the client side for so long period of time. Then many JavaScript libraries are there. For example, jQuery is a library. When we talk about the React.js is also a library. So many JavaScript libraries are built by different vendors as a part of their internal requirement. For example, Microsoft, Google, Facebook, all are some of the leading companies who have contributed to develop popular libraries. For example, JavaScript frameworks and front-end development. So we'll be discussing a very popular one, that is your React. So let's discuss about that. But before that, we need to understand, when we talk about the front end, that is JavaScript as a JavaScript used in your front end development, that is designing the user interfaces or UI designing, UI UX designing. So we talk about your single page applications. So what are single page applications? We can create single page applications with the help of your JavaScript or some frameworks or libraries that are built on JavaScript. So single page applications is basically a web application that loads only a single page web document and then updates the body and content of that single document via JavaScript API such as XML HTTP request, fetch, when different content is to be shown. It is also called as AJAX, asynchronous JavaScript and XML. Now, the concept of single page is very clear. Instead of creating multiple web pages, designing multiple web pages, you can design only one single web page. And dynamically, what we can do, asynchronously, what we can do, we can change the content of that one single document. So whatever data or whatever new data that has to be loaded on that document, that will come asynchronously using some API, using AJAX request. That is also called as XML HTTP request when we talk about their native JavaScript. So what happens here? API fetches the data from the backend asynchronously and it updates your document. So what happens there? Instead of loading entire web page, it will only replace the required components that we want to show. So this way, the bandwidth is also used less. The load on your internet is also very less. So your response time is very fast. So your web applications responds very fast and it becomes very fast. And the traffic, that is when number of users, when they use your website or your web page, it doesn't slow down. So that is an advantage of your single page applications. Now, famous websites like your Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, GitHub, these are and there are different Google services that all are built on single page. That is, they're all using single page application concept. Now let's discuss about the React. What is React.js? So React.js is used to create single page application. When we say single page application, so we can use JavaScript to create a single page application, but for that we have to use some special libraries or frameworks that are built on JavaScript. So React.js is a JavaScript library used to create single page application. And then we have one framework for React that is called as Next.js. So the Next.js is a framework for your React library. So Next.js is a framework that holds a React as on its base. Then we have React Native also. React Native is used to create hybrid mobile applications. Now, React is not only used to create your web application, it is also used to create your mobile application, and that to a hybrid mobile application. What do you mean by hybrid mobile application? That means that you can create application for both, for every kind of platform, that is your Android as well as your iOS, and also for platforms are also like your Windows and BlackBerry mobile phones. So you can create you can create mobile applications. So basically, we don't have to create separate applications for all different platforms, but we can simply write the code in native React, and then we can simply run those. We can simply use that single code base, and we can simply migrate to different platforms, platform dependent. That is, the code base can be used, rewritten with the help of your concept called as learn once and write anywhere. That is used by your React Native. That is when we write any mobile application or we create any application on React Native, we can simply use that single code base and we can run on any other platform. So that is why it is called as your hybrid mobile application. And React Native is used to create your hybrid mobile application. So that is one application of React. Then React is free and open source front-end JavaScript library. So you don't have to pay anything to use React. It is open source, and you can use the React library and you can create your web applications and mobile applications. It is maintained by Meta. and a community of individual developers and companies. Now, Meta, as you know, it is a creator of your Instagram. Now it is owned by your Facebook. So basically, React is maintained by Meta. Now, Meta was overtaken by your Facebook recently. So basically, it is, you can say that React is looked over by now Facebook and many other independent developers communities which keep on adding new features to your React, and it has huge community. So React is the library, and next is the framework for the React. The philosophy of the React, as I told you, is learn once and write anywhere. Now let's discuss about the MERN stack. So after discussing what is Node.js, and then what is your React in the front end. So what is basically a MERN stack? So MERN stack is a compilation of 4 different technologies that works together to develop a dynamic web app and website. It consists of 4 different technologies as mentioned below. First is your MongoDB. Second, your E stands for your Express.js, R stands for React.js, and N stands for Node.js. So to become a complete full stack developer, what you need to know is your front end technology, back end technology, and of course, one database knowledge. So Mongo is a database. You can say a DBMS software, and it is a NoSQL DBMS software. So to manage your data in the backend, we have your MongoDB. We are not going to go in much discussion about your MongoDB. Basically, it is a MongoDB is a DBMS software. We can save our data. All our data is managed by your Mongo database DBMS, and it is a NoSQL. So for now, you have to understand it is a DBMS software which will save all our data. Express.js is now a framework for Node.js. So if you want to work on in the backend on Node.js, your Express.js will ease your work. So Express.js comes with all built-in routing and all those mechanisms, APIs, all those different types of authentication and token-based authentication, then template engine, all those things comes along with your Express.js. So Express.js is a framework for Node.js. It will help to write the code in the backend. So whenever you are doing Node.js, you have to do your Express.js as well. Then we have React.js. We have already discussed what is React.js. So React.js is your JavaScript library. With the help of that, we can work in the front end. That is, we can create your single page applications. And to make your task easy, we have come up with our React Next framework. So already React.js has made our life easy to create single application. That is a front end development, but using React Next, which is your React.js framework, has even made your life much easier because it helps us to. So this is all about your MERN. So when you have the knowledge of all these 4 technologies, that is your MongoDB, Express.js, React.js, and Node.js, then you are considered to be a full stack development because it covers everything which is required as your MERN stack development. So this was about your MERN stack, the definition of your MERN stack. Now let's talk about the job opportunity. If you are a JavaScript developer, full stack JavaScript developer, basically the category will be MERN. Basically, what kind of technology stack you're choosing, that defines what kind of full stack developer you are. For example, if you're talking about MERN is your Mongo, Express, React, and Node. You can have another kind of application, another kind of full stack developer also. That is basically say a mean stack developer. So that would be discussed later on some another time, some another day. For now, we are only focusing on MERN, that is React oriented development. We can also have Angular. We can also have simple HTML, CSS, JavaScript in the front end. So the discussion is long, but right now we are focusing on MERN. So we'll see the job opportunity for a MERN stack developer. So you just search on Naukri portal or any other famous job portal, you'll see when you simply type the word MERN Stack developer or full stack JavaScript. When we talk about full stack JavaScript, again, the most common technologies in demand is your either MERN Stack or it is a mean stack development. So whenever anyone says that full stack JavaScript developer, that means they are talking about your MERN or mean. And MERN is in much demand because today because of the Next.js, a lot of applications, a lot of the companies, they prefer React developers. So you can see moreover 45 near about 50,000 vacancies are there if only you talk about your full stack JavaScript development, and if you talk about MERN, it is somewhere around 38,000. So there is quite a big number of jobs that are available for your full stack JavaScript developer and MERN stack developer. So this stats would definitely bring some interest as a new aspirant, that you have to start somewhere around and become a JavaScript developer. Then what are the prerequisite? How to start with your MERN stack development, and how to begin your career in MERN stack as a MERN stack developer? What do you require as a new aspirant, or if you are very new in the development, or you are a very fresher? What you need to know is your simple concept, that is basics of your JavaScript, then some TypeScript, ECMAScript, which is your modern JavaScript, then knowledge about your JSON data format, and what is the concept of Ajax, that is asynchronous JavaScript and XML. So basically, all these are related to your JavaScript only, and not in depth, but all the concepts should be clear, because then unless these things are clear, you cannot start with your React or any other JavaScript library frameworks or libraries. So to start with your React, you should know this. Then second important thing is your basic web technologies like your HTML and CSS. You should have some knowledge about your HTML and CSS, basically HTML tags and some CSS properties that you might be using when you are designing your front end or your web component or different React components. So to design something, we need HTML tags and knowledge of HTML tags, though and HTML tags and CSS may not be used directly in your React, but they're very much similar to your HTML and CSS. And then last but not the least is your knowledge of your DBMS, that is concept of your DBMS, basic database operations. What is SQL, what is NoSQL database? You should have understanding of this. So if you have all these basics right, you can start with your MERN stack development. So this was about your MERN. If you have any query, you can put your queries in the comment box, and you can also get us or you can directly reach to our website, and you can simply post your queries and message on the link provided or the chat box. Thank you very much.